हे एंड वेलकम बैक एंड आज थोड़ा लेट हो गया। मैं सुबह वीडियो नहीं बना पाया एंड अभी मेरे खाने के बाद लंच के बाद मैंने अभी वीडियो कर रहा हूँ। कोई बात नहीं, मिलते हैं, देखते हैं। एंड लास्ट वीडियो में हम क्या देखते हैं? हाँ, लास्ट वीडियो में हम देखे थे कि भाई जो भी बोले ना यस यस में क्वेश्चन करना है। ओके, सेइंग यस यस इमीडिएटली। थोड़ा रुको, मैं तैयार करता हूँ। ओके, yes yes, get the other person saying yes yes immediately. एंड आज हम पढ़ने वाले हैं भाई सेफ्टी valve in handling complaint, chapter number 6. Okay, most people trying to win others to their way of thinking do too much talking themselves. Let the other people talk themselves out. They know more about their business and problems than you do. So ask them questions. Let them tell you a few things. If you disagree with them, you may be tempted to interrupt, but don't. It is dangerous. They won't pay attention to you, will they still have a lot of ideas of their own crying for expression. So listen patiently and with an open mind. Be sincere about it. Encourage them to express their ideas fully. Does this policy pay in business? Let's see. Here is the story of a sales representative who was first to try it. One of the largest automobile manufacturers in the United States was negotiating for a year's requirements of upholstery fabrics. Three important manufacturers had worked off fabrics in sample bodies. These had all been inspected by an executives of the motor company, and notice had been sent to each manufacturer saying that on a certain day a representative from each supplier would be given an opportunity to make a final plea for the contract. GBR representative of the one manufacturer arrived in town with a severe attack of laryngitis. When it came my turn to meet the executive in conference, Mr. R said as he related the story before one of my classes, I had lost my voice. I could hardly whisper. I was ushered into a room and found myself face to face with the textile engineer, the purchasing agent, the director of sales and president of company. I stood up and made a valiant effort to speak, but I could not do anything more than squeak. They were all seated around a table, so I wrote on a pad of paper, Gentlemen, I have lost my voice. I am speechless. I will do the talking for you. The president said. He did. He exhibited my samples and praised their good points. A lively discussion arose about the merits of goods, and the president, since he was talking for me, took the position I would have had during the discussion. My sole participation consisted of smiles, nods, and few gestures. As a result of this unique conference, I was awarded the contract which called for over half a million yards of whole of upholstery fabrics at an aggregate value of 1,600,000. The biggest order I had ever received. I know I would have lost the contract if I hadn't lost my voice because I had a wrong idea about the whole proposition. I discovered quite by accident how richly it sometimes pays to let the other person do to talking. Letting the other person do the talking helps in family situation as well as in business. Barbara Williamson's relationship with her daughter Lori was deteriorating rapidly. Lori, who had been a quiet, complacent child, had grown into an uncooperative, sometimes belligerent teenager. Mr. Wilson lectured her, threatened her, and punished her, but all to no avail. One day, Mr. Williamson told one of our classes, I just gave up. Larry had disobeyed me and had left the house to visit her girlfriend before she had completed her course. When she returned, I was about to scream at her for 10,000 times, but I just did not have the strength to do it. I just looked at her and said sadly, why, Larry, why? Larry noted my condition and in a calm voice asked, do you really want to know? I nodded and Larry told me, first hesitantly, and then it all flowed out. I had never listened to her. I was always telling her to do this or that. When I see wanted to tell me her thoughts, feelings, ideas. I interrupted with more orders. I began to realize that she needed me, not as a bossy mother, but as a confident and outlet for all her confusion about growing up. And all I had been doing was talking when I should have been listening. I never heard her. From that time on, I let her do all the talking she wanted. She tells me what is on her mind, and our relationship has improved. Immeasurably, she is again to cooperative person. A large advertisement appeared on the financial page of a Newark newspaper calling for a person with unusual ability and experience. Charles T. Kublis answered the advertisement, sending his reply to a box number. A few days later, he was invited by letter to call for an interview. Before he called, he spent hours in Wall Street finding out everything possible about the person who had founded the business. During the interview, he remarked, I I should be mighty proud to associated with an organization with a record like yours. I understand you started 28 years ago with nothing but desk room and one stenographer. Is that true? Almost every successful person likes to reminisce about his early struggles. This man was no exception. He talked for a long time about how he had started with $450 in cash and an original idea. He told how he had fought against discouragement and battled against ridicule, working Sundays and holidays 12 to 16 hours a day. How he had finally won against an all odds until now the most important executives on Wall Street were coming to him for information and guidance. He was proud to such a record. He had to be right, and he had a splendid time telling about it. Finally, he questioned Mr. Kubelis briefly about his experience, then called in one of his vice president and said, I think this is the person we are looking for. Mr. Kubelis had taken the trouble to find out about the accomplishments of his prospective employer. He showed an interest in the other person and his problem. He encouraged the other person to do most of the talking and made a favorable impression. Roy G. Bradley, of Sacramento, California, had the opposite problem. He listened as good prospect for sales position, talked himself into a job with Bradley firm, Roy reported, being a small brokerage firm, we had no fringe benefits such as hospitalization, medical insurance, and pensions. Every representative is an independent agent. We don't even provide leads for prospects as we cannot advertise for them as our larger competitor do. Richard Pryor had the type of experience we wanted for this position, and he was interviewed first by my assistant, who told him about all the negatives related to this job. He seemed slightly discouraged when he came into my office. I mentioned the one benefit of being associated with my firm, that of being an independent contractor and therefore virtually being self employed. As he talked about these advantages to me, he talked himself out of each negative thought he had when he came in for the interview. Several times it seems as though he was half talking to himself as he was thinking through each thought. At times I was tempted to add to this his thoughts. However, as the interview came to a close, I felt he had convinced himself very much to his own that he would like to work for my firm because I had been a good listener and let Dick do most of talking. He was able to weigh both sides fairly in his mind, and he came to positive conclusion, which was a challenge he created for himself. We hired him, and he has been an outstanding representative for our firm. Even our friends would much rather talk to us about their achievements than listen to us boast about ours. La Rochefoucauld, the French philosopher, said, "If you want enemies, exile your friends, but if you want friends, let your friends exile you." Why is that true? Because when our friends excel us, they feel importance, but when we exalt them, they, or at least some of them, will feel inferior and envious. By far the best liked placement counselor in the Midtown Personal Agency in New York City has Henrietta G. It hadn't always been that way during the first few months of her association with the agency. Henrietta did not have a single friend among her colleagues. Why? Because every day she would brag about the placements she had made, the new accounts she had opened, and anything else she had accomplished. I was good at my work and proud of it. Henrietta told one of our classes, but instead of my colleagues sharing my triumphs, they seemed to resent them. I wanted to be liked by these people. I really wanted them to be my friends. After listening to some of the suggestions made in this course, I started to talk about myself less and listen more to my associates. They also had things to boast about and were more excited about telling me about their accomplishments than about the listening to my boasting. Now, when we have some time to chat, I ask them to share their joys with me, and I only mention my achievements when they ask. Okay, this is all about the chapter number 6, and in this chapter we have a principle 6, that is let the other person do a great deal of talking. उनको बोलने दे और आप सुने. Okay, okay, this most similar to the previous one principle, that be a good listener. Okay, and in this principle 50% of work has been doing by the good listening. Okay, okay, this is all about the chapter number 6 of the how to win and friends and influence people by Dale Carnegie. And see you in next video with another chapter.